Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Is it audible? Okay, thank you. Welcome to today's session on preparing your data foundation for generative AI. We are standing at a pivotal moment where Gen AI is no longer a futuristic concept. In fact, there are companies who have adapted it into the way they create, they automate, and they innovate. But here is a reality check for all of us. AI is as good as the data it learns from. In today's presentation, we will try to walk you through, with one of our partners, how we build a strong data foundation for them to turn the AI from hype into a real enterprise value. I have Shalwi with me. She is Principal Solution Architect at Kenvue GCC India, where she leads some of the data and analytics initiatives, very business focused, and she is very good at it.
Thank you, Mousumi. She is Mousumi, Director of Data Engineering at Sigmoid and our trusted partner for building data solutions. We'll get started.
Shalvi, does your business often face this problem with the data science teams where they spend a quality amount of time in figuring out where the right data is and at what place?
Almost always.
I'm not surprised. 25% of the time every engineer or every analytics person spend is to figure out where the data is. And when they actually find the data, do they actually get the value out of it?
Do organizations even generate or track the ROI on data? Is that a true use case?
Like you, there are a lot of leaders. Only 33% of the stats says that the leaders are able to connect the value of the data which they bring onto the table with the ROI. That brings us to the introduction for today's session.
Right. So we saw the common data problems which are faced by organizations, right? We will talk about our step towards solving those through a strong data product strategy. We will go over the data product execution framework which we have. And the key highlight for the day is going to be a demo on the data product marketplace, which is Gen AI enabled. All right. So traditionally, we have always seen data as a utility, right? But now there is a shift in the way we think of data, and it is more of an asset on which we can monetize on, right? Imagine going to a well and fetching a bucket of water. Before you can use it, you have to filter it, clean it, probably boil it, and then it becomes usable. In the contrast, data as a product is something which is trustworthy, ready to consume. Consider a packaged drinking water bottle which you get, right? It is clean, curated. We have a clear ownership defined on the data and then governed. So this is probably a shift which we are talking about today, and we will go into a details where data is used for solving business problems. Move on. Let's talk about how a data product organization operates. So everything funnels down and starts from defining your business priorities and needs. Once we know that, whether it is revenue growth management or improving your customer relationships and experiences, we define that what it is. And then we start defining our data strategy. We build domain-specific foundational data product, right? Once that is done, every time we shift from left to right, that's where we add more business context to the data. We make it more meaningful and ready to use and to be consumed by the data science and analytical partners, right? One thing which I want to highlight over here, the way we traditionally operated, especially the data teams, it was mostly from the backend. The data teams did not know how, when, where the data is being used. This is a very broad shift right now, where the data products team work in collaboration with the business, and then they design and define their data products, right? And of course, all of these are done in tandem with our data science and AI partners. With this, we will move on to the next one and double click how have we done this.
The problem statement starts with understanding what the data quality is in place. So we started the engagement with understanding where the data currently resides, whether it is the external data sources we are dealing with, whether it is the internal one, What is the granularity? What is the completeness, the accuracy of the data we are talking in here? Once that assessment has been done and a governance framework is put in place, we moved to the curated data layer where it was more domain focused. We wanted to give the data layer to the product teams, the customer teams, the supply team, who can then nurture into it and find out the analysis they are looking for. Something like a sales visibility, a finance 360. Then we moved into the integrated data because the teams wanted to understand what the other team is dealing with. Cross collaboration between the domains is very critical for a complete use case on the analytics side. So the revenue growth management cannot happen in silo. It has to be a collaboration between the domains. Similar thing is on the retail execution. So we built that layer for the teams who are very focused on the analytic. The question answered in here is what is happening. The enriched data set in here is for the data science and analytics team who wanted to use a curated data model which can then answers their why question and what next. So something like forecasting, predictive modeling, price elasticity, all of that was answered through this. The whole model was governed with the framework where we had the quality index defined as per the Kenvue standards. Now, in all of this process, we didn't throw genetic AI at everything we worked on. We were very selective on what to automate, where to spend it on the infrastructure for generative AI, and how to build the entire process. Once we were done with this one, the major challenge for us was how to make it visible to the enterprise. And that's where we built the data product marketplace, where not only the teams can discover, access, but can also have a self-service and publishing facility. So as and when they come up and build more use cases, they can use this platform to make it visible to others.
Okay, so we spoke about what our strategy looks like, right? Now let us talk about the use case, right? The execution framework, taking an example of Customer 360. So for any CPG organization, driving retail executional excellence is the key, right? Under that, we define what are our business priorities. That is the step number one, where under the physical availability and perfect store umbrella, we ensure the physical availability of product on the shelves in the store, right? That is, say, one business priority. Second is your total distribution point improvements. And then in case of online sales, we also have digital shelf compliance and availability of the product, right? Once these are defined, we go towards defining the data strategy, right? That's where we were talking about in the previous slide, that it happens hand in hand with business, right? So the data strategy here, we at Kenvue start defining the key data elements which are used to build all of these. So if I take an example of on-shelf availability, right? To go and predict whether a product can go out of stock from the store or the shelf, the very first thing in terms of key data element which we might require is your sell-in information, your inventory data, product attributes, retail scan images, and so on. Once we have all of those defined, for any data product, we finalize what our governance strategy should look like. What is the accuracy of the data which is required? What is the minimum coverage criteria which we have? Once the data strategy is built, that becomes the blueprint for building the data products, right? I'll not go in depth of how do we do data products. I think all of us do it. Just a key call out over here is building a common data model or semantic, which is key for us to scale it across geographies, right? It reduces our time to market and it makes it faster. So that is one of the key call out over there. And then, of course, in the previous sessions also, we heard about the importance of tagging your data, capturing your metadata, lineage of the data. So all of these are done, and then the data is democratized and made accessible to the entire organization who needs it through data product marketplace. We'll go there soon. And of course, it becomes usable by the data science and the analytics team during the course. One key thing again over here, which we follow at Kenvue, is the activation strategy. We have a very strong activation strategy for any of the product which we build, whether it is data or AI or any solution, right? This ensures that whatever we have built is actually deployed in the retailers and in the stores, and then we start tracking the return on investment, right? What have we investment and what return it is giving us. It ties back to our business priority in terms of numbers and green dollars. So this is how this looks like. We can go into the demo.
I think let's move to the demo section as well,
Yes.
right?
So the entire concept of data product marketplace, right? We spoke about. All right. So we spoke about the problem statement in the beginning, where data discovery was an issue, right? We build the data, but we do not know where to find the data. That was the key problem which every organization faces. And for that, we had this vision of building data product marketplace. We partnered with Sigmoid where they helped us to build this end to end, right? And not just the data product marketplace, even defining our data, right? The basic data foundation which is required even to have a product like this. So let's get into the demo.
So any new user or a repeated user has to go through the single sign-on. If you are a new user, we collect the information related to your demographics, where you are logging for, what persona you belong to, what designation you are, what is your org hierarchy looks like. We collect all of that information, but for a repeated user, we already have that metadata with us. This is the landing page for everybody who logs into the marketplace, whether you are from the product side, the customer side, or the consumer side. I will take the demo for the customer domain. Now, this product was not built with the only vision of serving the data and analytics team. When we went for the requirement gathering of this one, we spoke to a lot of end users, the business users who are actually going to use that. We just don't want to build another platform which is sitting onto the server and nobody else is using it. So all the discussions of what they want to look into is accumulated into this. When you log into this one, we first give you a highlight of what the domain is, who are the owners of the domain, what is the quality score, which are the regions it has been made live into. And you can see the screen has been divided into two parts. There is a derived data products, and there are the foundational data products. These are the foundational ones are the one which is like your audit data, your syndicate data, the hierarchies which the company has defined, both global and regional. Based on this data, we created the derived data products which are used by either the analytics team or the data science team. If you see into the global perfect store, you see a green badge. You can see the green badge. It has a threshold of what the quality index is. And based on that, the badge turns to amber or red if the quality of the data is not trustworthy. In the bottom section, you can see some icons. The first icon tells you if you want to make this style your favorite, so that the next time you log in, this is where you land in first. You can see the next one, which tells you the quality index of the Power BI report, which we publish across the tables which has been used for the derived and the foundational data set. Every column, what is the score, which is the region which is scoring less, all the reports are displayed. The next tab will give you a report on where the Global Perfect Store KPIs has been used by any of the teams in reporting or insight generation. The fourth tile is that of a catalog. You click on it, you go to the Alician website where you can know the details of the whole data set, the ownership, the granularity, the quality checks, how the columns are related to each other, everything. The last but one is where you can raise your request. It will connect you to the Snowflake database where you can go play around with the table, the version available for you to play. And then the last one is a self-service, which will take you to a Power BI dashboard where you have the curated data set available for Global Perfect Store to drag, drop, and do your own analysis on the fly. If you dig into the Global Perfect Store,
Just a disclaimer, sorry,
go ahead.
Mousumi. So the numbers what you see here is just for demo purpose and does not represent Kenvue's data. So we can move on.
Thank you. All right, so now these are the KPIs which are very specific to Perfect Store, and the person who is dealing with it will be working on these KPIs as they work. The following sections has been divided into where you have the year-over-year analysis done, and the next section tells you some of the business questions which are directly related to the KPIs in here. So if we have some predefined questions which business generally wants to know about. This is a pre-curated analytical data which we went to the business users and collected. that when they want to see perfect store data, what are the common questions which they have to answer. Based on that, we have curated the list. It is not interactive. It's a one-time load. You can ask, you can see the questions they generally deal with. The next is a hotspot. It will give you the relationship between the different metrics like OSA compliance, on-shelf availability. When you change the filters, how does the numbers change and how does it impact to each other? The third one is a lineage. Every business user wants to know the source from which the data they are seeing is coming from. So we have created the lineage from the bottom, from the source systems till the end users, where it is flowing in and where they have joined, what are the changes and interactions it has been doing. The fourth slide is cognitive insights. These are something which the org generally deals with. It is published on the org, but we have curated it in one place, which is very specific to Global Perfect Store. So anybody who is interested to know what is the org looking like from the product side onto the KPI side, they come into it and they can have their cognitive insights. They can read more about it. They can do more research, whatever is published. The last style is smart search. Now, traditionally, we have been very familiar with search in instance, where generally it is to search a table, a column, or some of the entities in here. What we have done in here is the use of LLM models, where you ask the question in natural language, in plain English, and it has a master LLM model, which is then broken down into SLM models. They have agentic AIs in here where the query is then broken down into pieces, and it is assembled by the master LLM and returned to you. So let's say you have a question like, what are my top 5 retailers based on the OSA compliance for August 2024? It will not only show you the numbers, will also give you a graph which you can then readily use and place it into your presentations. You can ask further questions to it. For demo purpose, we have restricted it to this, but you can go deep, and this is where your data starts talking. We don't want just the data lake to be sitting there. We want the data to be interactive. As we are speaking, we are doing more feature enhancement into it by talking to the business users, how they are using. So it's a self-learning in here where it understands the query which the users are putting in, and it is trying to do advanced search by itself. Shalvi, would you like to show the one of the case studies which we are working on?
Sure. So this tool, right, we have, once it was built, we introduced it to multiple personas within the organization, right? It is definitely built keeping in mind technical as well as non-technical users, business users, so that they can come and then if they have any requirement of understanding any data, we could not show you a lot of features right now, but what Moshmi was talking about, if you click on these, right, it is actually going to take you to an Alation catalog where the entire data is cataloged for you to self-service it later, right? So all of those features are available over there. One of the use case which I want to talk about, right? It is one of the AI use case which is on shelf availability, which we had built for North America first, right? So basically, what it does is it predicts whether any of your product is going to go out of stock from a store or from the shelf, right? So this was something which we deployed for multiple retailers in North America region. Once it was done over there, the business across multiple geographies heard about it and they were interested to even build. This is of course a global data product, and they reached out, to us. So once they decide that they want to go ahead with this, the very first thing which we have to do is a data sufficiency test, right? Whether you have the right data within your region to even go ahead and build it, or there's something which you need to procure first before you think about it. So this is the page where they usually land up. They say where is it live, and they can get into again details. The use case report, which again redirects you to the analytical use case as well. And when they click on the data metrics, they know what exactly do they require to implement an OSA solution, right? What granularity of data is required. There are a lot of other informations in terms of history, the exact column which is required, and then we also maintain must to have and good to have kind of columns which they can go ahead and take a look at. So with all of these, I think the amount of time they take to come to a data engineer for checking on their data queries, that is drastically reduced. And it was difficult initially, I will tell you, because there is a way in which the entire organization is used to communicate and gather the information. So it required a lot of effort to kind of push this across. We conducted multiple office hours for adoption and so on. Once it is now in flight and people are using it, we have also implemented a Google Analytics to track the consumption of this. So yes, I think with this I would like to conclude the session for today. And the food for thought is right. Data product strategy is a must. It's no more an option if you are looking to build, and enable your AI and Gen AI journey. So with this, I will open the floor for questions.